Hi guys, I'm Lynda. I'm a nutritional therapist, and today I'm going to share 10 top tips to help support you through the postpartum period. Now, first, I would say that despite what Instagram, social media might make you believe, having postpartum feelings and symptoms is very normal. And what I mean by that is feeling fatigued or even absolutely exhausted, feeling like you're crying over really little things, feeling like you're failing somehow and you don't feel like you're good enough, and then you feel guilty that you don't feel happy all the time and you feel like you're being ungrateful for your newborn. All these feelings are normal, as our baby brain, poor memory, concentration, that constant feeling of brain fog, or being absolutely exhausted but not being able to sleep because you've got anxiety and you feel like you're on constant alert. Please know you are not alone if you feel this way, but today I want to do my best to support you with 10 just simple things you can do that can help nourish your body postnatally. Now, firstly, I need to say that pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum, they take a huge drain on the body, and I don't think we give ourselves credit for what we go through during pregnancy and childbirth. And sometimes we come into the postpartum period depleted because we went into pregnancy depleted, because we were working really long hours, got all the social engagements, doing all the workouts, doing all the things. So our bodies are depleted anyway. Then we go through pregnancy when our baby's always going to be prioritized. So if we're low in any nutrients, the baby will get those nutrients, but it might leave us depleted. So then we come out the other side and we wonder why we struggle so much. So the first tip is to continue taking your prenatal or your pregnancy supplement, just to make sure that we're upping those nutrient reserves after pregnancy, particularly if you're breastfeeding. But even if you're not breastfeeding, I would still say to keep taking that supplement for at least 6 months postpartum. It'll have, if it's a good quality one, it'll have all the different nutrients that are likely to be low, such as iron, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, selenium, iodine. Now, postnatal thyroid dysfunction is actually quite scarily common. It's expected to be some level of dysfunction in up to 25% of postnatal women, compared to 3 to 4% of the general population. So pregnancy can trigger a impaired thyroid function, and so that prenatal will also have things like iron, selenium, and iodine that are really important for thyroid function and preventing, because thyroid itself is really important for our energy, and thyroid dysfunction is linked to postpartum depression as well. So that was a lot, but it's all number one. Number two is take a separate omega-3 fish oil supplement with good levels of DHA. And if you are vegetarian or vegan, you can also use an marine algae supplement for this, but make sure it's rich in DHA. The reason being is DHA is that omega-3 fat that is incorporated into our baby's brain, particularly in the last trimester. So in the last trimester, they incorporate 67 milligrams a day, roughly. So it's a huge amount that's going into baby's brain. And unfortunately, if we don't have that in our diets, or we're not taking a supplement in pregnancy, or we're not got enough, then the baby actually takes it from our own brain, and that can actually lead to some of our symptoms of baby brain. And DHA remains a really important fat for a baby until 2 years. So we should be supplementing again. If we are breastfeeding, it's really important that we're getting it through our diet as well, so that it can come through the breast milk to our baby. But then, as I say, we also want to make sure that we're restocking our own supplies as well. So DHA is like my number 2. And also you can get that through eating omega-3 fish like salmon, sardines, herring, anchovies and mackerel. I call those smash fish, but I said them in the wrong order. But look at the acronym smash fish and they're your oily fish. Now, number 3 is make sure you get your iron and vitamin D checked by your GP, because particularly if you have a lot of blood loss, you could be low in iron, but even just like a standard conventional healthy birth, you'll lose a couple of cups of blood. And again, if you've got to that stage in your pregnancy where your iron levels are getting quite low anyway, it could be just that thing that tips you over the edge. So make sure you get your iron checked. And then vitamin D, I mean, particularly if you're in the UK, but it's very rare that we can actually get the amount of sunlight that we need for the vitamin D that we need to be making. And again, our babies are getting their vitamin D through our breast milk. So get your levels checked. It's one of those, it's that you want to know the level before you supplement, because it's a bit of a, it's a curve where there's an optimal level you have, and if you have too much, it's bad, and if you have too little, it's bad, and you want to be at the optimum curve. So get your vitamin D levels checked, and then speak to a healthcare practitioner about supplementing iron and vitamin D if you need to. Number 4 is having really good quality protein. Now, particularly if you've had like a perineal tear or you've had some kind of surgical intervention, you're going to need protein to rebuild the body tissues. But even if you haven't, even if you've had, again, a straightforward pregnancy, which again, we all know is incredibly rare these days, is usually in some sort of intervention, even if you haven't had to have that, then your uterus is having to shrink back to size. There's lots of different changes going on internally, and elasticity of the skin is coming back. And we need particular amino acids to support us in that, and they come from protein, good quality protein. 2 of those are glycine and proline, and they're used to make collagen. So we can cheat a little bit, and we can take a collagen peptide powder, and we can add that to hot drinks and soups and oats and all the different things. Or another one of the ways I really like to get collagen in is bone broth. Bone broth is so nourishing. It's rich in electrolytes and protein, and it's really delicious, and it's warming. And in many cultures, they recommend that the mother has only warming foods, and obviously at this time of year, we're in winter at the moment, the time of this being recorded. So it's a really nice time to have those warming foods. But I really love to start my day with a bit of bone broth. And if you're in the postpartum period, I would recommend kind of having a few cups throughout the day. You can cook it yourself in a slow cooker, or you can buy powders and like a gelatinous mixture on Amazon really easily. And again, if you want recommendations of a brand, please message me, but I would recommend you look for a grass-fed bone broth. And then other really great sources of protein that you want to be having in every single meal are your nuts and seed, legumes, grass-fed meats, fish, eggs. Organic eggs are really great as well. So yeah, that's some ideas, and make sure you're including protein every meal. And then the next one is to make sure you're including healthy fats in each meal as well. Now, we need fat. Every single cell of our body needs fat. Each cell of our body has a fat outer layer. So we need fat, despite what they told us in the 1980s. Also, our brain is like 60% fat, and our hormones are made from fat. So if you want to have good mood, good energy levels, and limit kind of hormonal imbalances postpartum, you want to be getting your fats in. So your good quality fats, again, would be your oily fish, and then you'll also want avocados, olives, nuts and seeds, egg yolks, and then the good quality fats as well. So not your trans fats, your hydrogenated fats, those types of fats. You want to be having the good fats, which would be your organic cold pressed olive oil, flaxseed oil, hemp seed oil, avocado oil, grass-fed butter or ghee, and then coconut oil. They're really nice choices for you. So make sure you're getting a bit of protein each meal, make sure you're getting some healthy fat in each meal. And then the next one to get healthy carbohydrates as well. Because when we are making breast milk, we're getting through, like, we're metabolizing blood sugar quite rapidly. So you'll probably find that you're craving sweet foods a lot. And rather than grabbing the box of biscuits, I would rather you were having roasted sweet potato, for example. Like, I love just to roast up a huge tray of sweet potato, and then you can just snack on it, have it with a bit of hummus or another kind of dip if you like. Buckwheat, oats, they're also really nice options, as are like wild rice or black rice or red rice or all the different rice. There's some really nice kind of complex carbs that you can have that, again, are going to support your energy and your mood. And also make sure that you're having plenty of vegetables as well. They're also another type of carbohydrate that we kind of don't mix in with carbohydrates because it's like separate, but really colourful vegetables. Choose a variety of colours because they all have different phytonutrients, and all the different phytonutrients have a different role within the body. So make sure you're mixing up, your green leafy vegetables, your red and yellow peppers, for example. Then you might have your roasted cauliflower. So as much as possible, get a variety of vegetables in your day. Aim for an absolute minimum of 5. If you can get to 9, amazing. They could be 7 vegetables and 2 fruit. So think berries. Berries are low sugar and they're super rich in antioxidants. Next is, I've written a list here in case I forget any. Next is probiotic rich foods. So we're talking unpasteurized sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir and miso, for example. You could have 2 to 3 tablespoons of sauerkraut or kimchi. You could add miso to soups and stews and broths and all the different things, particularly if you've used antibiotics during pregnancy or the birth, because those antibiotics wipe out the good bacteria, and then we can have a imbalance in the gut, and that makes us more susceptible to infections. So by getting in loads of the probiotic foods, we feed up the good guys and outcrowd those bad guys. And that's going to be really important for both your breast milk, the bacteria that's passed through to the baby, and also just your own general health and well-being and immunity and stuff. Another thing that you should consider if you've had perineal tear, you may want to look at additional zinc, vitamin C and vitamin A to help support recovery, but please don't supplement those separately without seeing a healthcare practitioner. I would advise you see someone about that separately. The next one is staying hydrated. Now, again, if you're breastfeeding, I don't even need to tell you to do this because you'll be so thirsty, but make sure you've got a cold water, like a stainless steel water bottle with you, like all the time on the move, and make sure you're drinking from it all the time because you need so much fluid to make your breast milk. But even if you're not breastfeeding, I really recommend you have herbal teas and, again, bone broths, different broths throughout the day, just lots of warm fluids. That's really nourishing to the body. Just make sure you keep those hot drinks away from the baby because obviously if we're tired, we don't want to be spilling them. So just have them when you're on your own and getting a little bit of me time. And then number 10 is sleep, sleep, sleep. Now, when I was postpartum, everyone kept telling me to sleep when the baby sleeps, and I know what it's like. You think, well, that's the only time of the day I've got to prepare any food, do the washing, do the cleaning, have a shower, all the different things. But please take that advice because I didn't, and I really regret it now. Just try your best to get the sleep when you can. And get as much support as you possibly can as well. So I know that's really difficult in these times, and particularly with the news that's kind of happened really recently and different tiers, and we haven't got that support system. You know, we struggle with villages anyway these days, but let alone what's going on right now in the world. But I would recommend that you get people to make meals and to leave them on the doorstep for you, even if you don't see them. And a slow cooker is going to be your best friend as well, because slow cooker, you can throw in the meat, veg and carbohydrates and bit of fat, and it's kind of cooking away for you. You can do a little bit at a time. You don't have to feel like you make the whole meal all in one. You can chop a bit and throw it in, chop a bit and throw it in, and then turn it on for however long you've got left of the day, and then grab that in the evening, and it's going to be really nourishing. And it's also going to be easy to digest because it's going to be cooked really slowly over a really long time, so the food's all going to be quite broken down. And also make sure you're drinking that liquid because all of the nutrients are coming out of all those different foods into the liquid. So make sure you're either having that liquid with the food itself or setting it aside and drinking it as a broth afterwards. So that's the 10 tips. I think it kind of went into 11 or 12 in the end, but roughly 10. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please let me know if you'd like me to do any more videos for Nessa Organics. Ask the guys. I'm more than happy to do more content. We can do anything specific to pregnancy or postpartum. If you want breastfeeding tips, if you want pregnancy tips, if you want tips to prevent postpartum depletion, if you want weight loss tips, any of the things, please let me know. I'm more than happy to create more and more content for you. I'm sending so much love, and hopefully I'll see you all soon.